Okay, good people. So today we're going to be going over how the meta algorithm works. And to get straight into it, the meta algorithm and all its new updates works in 4 simple steps, right? The first one is retrieval. The second one is light ranking. Third is heavy ranking. And the fourth is auctioning. And we're going to go over each and every step until we get to the fourth one. And of course, there's going to be some bonus tips on how you can make sure that your ads are more profitable later on in the video. And so to get straight into it, as you can see, Meta operates in a funnel-like system, right? A funnel-like system that funnels out each and every ad that they deem is not good enough to be shown in two-way impression, right? So in theory, this means that each and every ad goes through a system that washes it out up until it is shown to that one impression. So we have billions and billions of ads fighting for one impression, basically. And the first step of this funnel, as I like to call it, is retrieval. So retrieval is basically where Meta gathers all the information it needs, right? This is the heaviest part of the 4 steps, in my opinion. This is where decisions are made in terms of, is your ad even good enough to be shown to a user? So this means that Meta looks into your copy, your creative writing, so on and so forth, right? The details of it, the demographics, gender, age, so on and so forth. This is to ensure that it aligns with the user, and if it doesn't, it gets moved on, right? Now, this all came about because of the new Andromeda update. Now, if you've been in the game long enough, you understand that Meta used to run on a completely different operating system that promoted lookalikes, interest targeting, so on and so forth, right? But due to the introduction of AI, there was a whole influx of new ads. And that influx of ads that was too hard to cope with, and I want to say direct to the right users, Meta introduced Andromeda to make things a whole lot easier. This meant that those targeting ways of the old days didn't really work as much. You needed to be hands down on your creative so that your creative could do the targeting for you. Hence why broad targeting works a little better now, because your creative becomes the targeting. So when I say in retrieval, stage 1, Meta does a lot of analysis. This is what I mean. They look into your copy and they render if your copy is good enough to be shown to a person that fits the description, right? And if it's not, it gets moved on, and then they move into the next ad and so on and so forth. Mind you, there's always this window on Meta in terms of these stages, or these decisions are made within 200 milliseconds, right? It is so fast because there's a bunch of ads on Meta, like there's billions. So this is why most subpar ads get drowned out, because they cannot compete, right? This is not to say that those retard-like ads, we call them retard-like ads, don't perform, they print. But now I'm just going into a completely different situation and different topic. So since your ad has moved to the next stage because Facebook thinks they've rendered enough information from it and they think they have the right ICP, you then start to move to stage 2, which is light ranking, right? Light ranking is basically where your ad goes toe-to-toe with millions and millions of other ads in terms of comparison. They compare which one is going to fit the ICP that they thought fit the ad. And so after this, because there's not really much to go into in terms of light ranking, it's fairly straightforward, you move into the next stage, which is heavy ranking. Now, with heavy ranking, this is where you go toe-to-toe with your competitors. This is when you realize them, right? This is where your ad is going up against thousands of other ads. Now, we've moved from the much larger audience into the more niche down ads, if I should say. These are the ads that are going to move on to the 4th stage, which is the most important. So most cases, since you've gone to this stage where there's 1,000 and less, it's just process of elimination, basically. That's what the whole funnel looks like, right? So now when your ad is up against competitors, Facebook is going to look for the telltale signs that this ad is going to be received well by the users, right? Because something I need you to understand is the fact that Facebook loves their users, right? As much as it is a business, it loves their users, because without them, they have no money. So if they're going to promote something that the users are not promoting or are not really enjoying in terms of your creative, maybe the click-through rates are low, they know that they're going to lose the people on the app. So they look for the ones with the most engagement, the click-through rates, the watch times, and so on and so forth. So if your ad has good performance around these points, this is where your ad is going to have higher chances of leaving and going to the 4th stage, because there are just certain things Facebook will forever love. And one of them is click-through rates and just watch times. And if you have really good conversion rates, even better, because now not only does you just plainly having high CTR increase the chances of your CPMs getting lowered in the future, because they're not going to happen right now, and you having higher quality, the fact that your purchase rates are pretty high in terms of people are clicking through the ad and maybe it ends up in a purchase, Facebook is going to want to promote that, because not only is it bringing them money because, hey, you're going to spend more money on their ads, it's also giving the users what they want, right? And so if all these things are in check, Facebook is going to move your ad to the next point, right? Now that your ad has made it out of stage 3, which is heavy ranking, it moves on to the 4th stage, which is auctioning. This is where brands bid on that particular one impression, right? Because all this is happening so your ad can gain one impression. Hence why I say all these things may happen in 200th of a millisecond, right? It is extremely fast. So now when we get to the auctioning, it's basically a point where it's just a matter of who can bid the highest for that one impression, right? And most companies or most brands run auto bidding, but you can use this in terms of however feels great to you, because you can use LC, CC, or BC, right? CC is cost cap, where it's the maximum amount of money you're willing to bid for an impression. And bid cap is the limit you want to set in terms of how much you're actually willing to put out of your pocket to gain that impression, right? And I want to say this again, this works in terms of what you're trying to do. There is no set way, because auto bidding also works pretty well. There's brands that have done outrageous numbers because they were doing auto bidding and so on and so forth, right? There's really no right way. And something I want to outline now that we're moving on to the stage where I'm going to tell you how you can ensure that your ads are predictable in terms of they're going to be winners. I want to outline the fact that Facebook is a business, right? And with the fact that Facebook is a business, Facebook is always going to treat the people that spend a lot of money on them a little better. So if you're spending $50 a day and maybe less, and I don't know how you're spending less, but let's say you're spending $50 a day. This is not me trying to belittle you, but let's say this is what you're doing. You're not going to have the same consistency as a person who's spending probably $3,000 a day, because Facebook wants to keep the person who's spending a lot more money on their app happier. So his metrics are going to be maybe a little better in terms of consistency. That's the base thing many brands fight around, because we want consistency with Meta, but it's never really going to happen. Now, the fact that Meta is a business and if you spend more money, they're going to treat you better is an influence, right? But to add to this, there's also the fact that Meta is an app run by emotional human beings. So there's never really going to be consistency on the app itself. Consistency is not something you're going to always have, regardless of maybe you're spending that $3,000, you're not going to have a pure consistent 6-month period. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not, regardless of the fact that you are spending money on them. But there will be better benefits on there. Maybe your CPMs are so low, right? Maybe your CPMs, you're running just to get eyes, you're running maybe $1.50. You know, it gets very low for you, and it depends on how it goes. And maybe for the brand running $50, maybe it's $2 to get that one impression, you know, because as I said, Facebook will treat the person spending the most money on them better. But moving on. So in terms of how you can get more predictable winners, the first thing I want to outline is the learning phase, right? Many people talk about the learning phase where your ad needs to be rendered, your ad needs to be put out there so it can get as much information in terms of who the ICP is, Facebook that is, right? So they can pump it out to the right person. In my opinion, I don't think it's really a thing, because every ad is going to learn up until it dies, right? This is very simple. The moment you put your ad out, it's going to learn as much as it can in terms of your ICP, who it's trying to sell to, who it's trying to be in front of, so on and so forth. And Meta is going to be in there assisting it, if I should say. But it's literally one thing. It's one body. It's going to learn up until it dies. So there's no true learning phase. Sure, when you're starting out with the ad, it might not shoot up the way you want, but that's pretty normal. As I said, consistency is not your wife on Meta. It's something that comes and goes, honestly. But the point is, I don't believe in the learning phase as much. It's normal if your ad is not going to shoot up. Hence why I run CBOs and just put a minimum on them and they just run consistently. If they're not going to perform well, switch them off. Move on to the next, Simpler that way. And something I didn't say earlier, the way you battle with inconsistency on Meta is you stop zooming in, right? If you look at your metrics like, oh, today was a good day, yay, tomorrow, oh no, we're in hell, so on and so forth, and it goes back and forth, you're never going to really see consistency. You need to zoom out and just look at it from a broader lens. That's when you can see good metrics, because if you go on the fluctuations of each and every day, you're honestly never going to see the type of results you want, because Meta, as I said, is a emotional app. It is run by humans, right? As much as it is a business with AI, intelligence, so on and so forth, humans run the app. Humans dictate what goes on the app. You need to be very aware of this and just honestly stop looking at micro metrics. View the broader scale. Point number 2, signal quality and KPIs, right? So a way to ensure that your ads are going to perform at their peak capacity, you need to be able to send back good information to Facebook. If Facebook has a good amount of information on your ads, it's going to ensure that your ads have higher chances of performing. Now, mind you, this is also going to increase chances of you having lower costs to advertise, right? Reducing your CPM, so on and so forth. The better the information you send back to Facebook, the better your ad is going to perform. It's like a correlation. The better chances, let me say that, not just exact, but there's higher chances of your ad performing much better. And the best way to do this is to just send all the information on the server side, instead of actually sending it through the browser. It's not really going to perform as well. So the best way to do this is just use KPIs, conversion API, and just send it back to them, right? And to see the quality of information you're sending back to Facebook, just go to your EMQ and it's going to give you a scale, and that's going to be your telltale sign. That's honestly going to be your telltale sign. And if you don't know how to get to your EMQ, let me help you. So you're going to go to your events manager, and then straight after that, your purchase events, and then you're going to see it right there, EMQ, and it's going to give you a scale in terms of rating 1 to 10, and that's going to give you info or feedback in terms of how good the quality information you're sending back to Facebook. Better quality, higher chances your ad performs. And then the last point being creative diversity. Having diversity in your creatives is very good. Now, this does not inherently take away variations, because as soon as people were aware of the fact that the new Andromeda update needed you to have diversity in your ads, people just in their head made it up and said, variations are dead. No, you could still use variations, because variations also work. So this means that you're gonna have probably 2 different creatives, new concept creatives, and you're gonna just iterate on them, right? Maybe producing 3 extra ads, and they're still gonna perform well. And we saw this in a video I made not too long ago about Adalia, right? They had a couple variations on a few ads that had been running for time. This means these ads are performing. And this means variations are not dead if you just use them properly. So in its simplest form, the key takeaways from this is that you should have creative diversity, number 1. Number 2, don't mess up the user experience. I alluded to this earlier. Bros, listen, guys, listen. Listen, if you F up the whole user experience and you make the users on Facebook unhappy, your ads are not going to do well. No one wants to be shown something they don't like. So what is Facebook going to do? They're going to throw away your ads. Maybe not throw away, maybe ban your business manager. And if it's not that, they're just not going to show your ads to the people that you want them to be in front of. Don't F up the user experience, and go broad. Go broad in your targeting. Don't be so specific that it hurts you, bro. Like, we all know the new Andromeda update calls for variations and variety. Just do it, new concepts, and just go. And I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to see you guys on the next one.